Hey everyone, welcome back to 330 Movies. I do movie and TV reviews and other stuff. If you're new here, go ahead and check out the channel to find a whole slew of reviews I've already done. I post new videos a few times a week. This past Tuesday I uploaded my review for Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender. And coming this Saturday will be my review for Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. I'm currently working my way back through the MCU in my MCU Retrospective series. You can find all of the previous installments of that series on my channel as well. So without further ado, let's dive into it. This is a big one today. The Avengers. Those sons of bitches did it. I'm not gonna mince words here. I love this movie. And shame on me because I saw this movie opening weekend in the theater when it released. And up until the opening credits rolled, I was skeptical. Having seen and enjoyed every chapter leading up to this, I think, understandably had reservations. I think that's fair to say. Nothing had ever been done in the realm of cinema like this before, but goddamn if they didn't pull off a miracle. A shared cinematic universe. I remember sitting in my seat, eyes glued to the screen in pure awe of what was occurring before me. This movie is just a blast to revisit. The sheer joy of just seeing all of these characters interact, some for the first time, it's indescribable. The story is great too. Feige started sewing the threads with S.H.I.E.L.D., Loki, and the Tesseract early on, and it pays off. And writing up this review, it's kind of strange. One would think that they would have so much to talk about for a movie that they absolutely adore. But honestly, I feel like I always have more to say in my reviews for films that I didn't like. So, I think I want to sort of divide this video up a little bit just to organize my thoughts more completely. Let's take a look at the story first. Integrating Loki in from Thor's corner of this universe to serve as the main antagonist of this inaugural Avengers movie was an ingenious idea. Thus far, Loki has been the most compelling, relatable, and even threatening villain in this series. Not to mention the fact that he has such a personal connection with Thor. He makes for a fantastic team-up villain. I love the manner in which the team is brought together as well. We get glimpses into each character's lives since becoming superheroes, as their approach to help defend Earth against the threat. The team dynamic is so enjoyable to watch as well. I mean, we don't even see all 6 team members suit up together until like the final 30 minutes of this movie. But I appreciate the small moments of banter, debate, and infighting that we see along the way. Those are the most interesting aspects of this film, I think, seeing how these characters approach their roles, how they set aside their differences and come together. Everything about this story is great. From the onset, it doesn't stop either. The movie is a breeze to get through, making the rewatch even more enticing. And utilizing the Tesseract as this universal portal type of weapon that Loki uses to in turn bring an army to Earth, it's great. It all becomes so cohesive after the setup of the first movies in this series. So what about our heroes? I think in later Avengers films, because the roster grows so exponentially, it's hard to give everyone their rightful due. But here in this initial movie, everyone gets time to show off their skills. The OG Iron Man goes toe-to-toe with Thor and holds his ground. We get to see him vaporize numerous alien forces, as well as blow up a space whale from the inside out. Not to mention his would-be sacrifice to save New York from a nuclear missile, sending Loki's army to the abyss. The Avengers' fearless leader, the man out of time. Side note, I have 2 big issues with this movie, one of them being Cap's uniform in the movie. Man, is it terrible. It's hands down the worst uniform he sports in this entire franchise. I hope the costume department burned this suit after production wrapped because it is just so bad. Anyway, I digress. Back to Cap. He's as earnest as ever, and I love it. Cap is a man who has a very intimate set of core morals and values and holds firmly to those. This is the first time we get to see those values challenged. Tony puts his faith in the US governmental apparatus to the test, sparking an internal struggle Cap will have to grapple with down the line. But he never stops being the Cap we love, the Cap who will lay down his life at any moment for the people he's sworn to protect, going up against a god, alone with zero hesitation. Thor, the god of thunder, I'm so glad Hemsworth's character got so much more room to breathe in this film, personality-wise especially. While I enjoyed Thor, sometimes it felt like Hemsworth was so hamstrung by Branagh's Shakespearean style, he never truly got to shine. Letting Hemsworth start to utilize his comedy chops as he plays off the other Avengers was a great choice, because he is a funny actor. And seeing his relationship and his love for Loki being put to the ultimate test in this movie is interesting and heartbreaking at the same time as he tries to reason with his brother that he deeply cares for. Then we got the updated casting with Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. If you watch my Incredible Hulk retrospective, you'll know that I think Ruffalo is ultimately the better choice for this role. He's reserved, awkward, apprehensive, nerdy, everything Banner should be, and Ruffalo plays it to a T. I love his developing relationship with Tony as well, as the two of them just geek out over each other's work. And the Hulk's design in this one is such a step forward. It looks amazing. It may be my favorite Hulk design in this entire series. I know it's 4 years into the future at this point, and 4 years of more pristine technology being developed, but I love how you can recognize Ruffalo in the face of this Hulk. It just adds so much more depth to a sometimes one-dimensional character. And watching him just absolutely eviscerate the Chitauri forces is a blast to watch. Then with our final two roster spots, we get Black Widow and Hawkeye. ScarJo as Black Widow picked right up where she left off in Iron Man 2, and she just blends into whatever character she needs to. We meet up with her just playing a group of Russian gangsters like a fiddle. Then we see her don a friendly yet seductive look as she attempts to recruit Banner to the team. And by the end, we get Natasha full force with her acrobatic style of combat, utilizing anything and everything as a weapon to fend off Chitauri forces, ultimately being the person responsible for closing the portal. Renner's Hawkeye, while I don't think utilized to his full potential in this movie, is a great addition. We only got to see a tease of him in Thor, and it was a delight getting to see him go to work in this one. Even though he was mind-controlled for a lot of this movie, that was a little dull, but hey, it fits the story, and it gave us a fun confrontation between him and Natasha. But when he gets thrown into the Battle of New York, he's cool, he's deadly, and he's an artist with that bow. This team is exceptional, and I think Whedon, Feige, and the writers did an incredible job of assembling this team and giving everyone their time to shine. Now to our villain, Loki. I briefly hinted at it earlier, but I think he's the perfect choice. Hiddleston just brings so much weight and emotion to this character that even though you're supposed to despise him, you love him every time he's on screen. He just oozes charisma every time he interacts with one of our heroes, outplaying and outwitting them at every turn. Seeing him get his comeuppance at the end at the hands of the Hulk is always fun to watch. The progression of him and Thor's relationship in this film is beautiful. You can tell that he's deeply broken, and although he resents his brother, he still cares for him, making their relationship one of the more interesting, dynamic, and complicated ones in the MCU. As you've probably gathered, I thoroughly enjoy this movie, but I have one caveat. One issue, really. I don't like the way this movie is filmed, and after all of these years, I've still never gotten used to it. Most of this movie, actually, the majority of this movie, until the final act, doesn't really feel like a movie. For the longest time, I couldn't figure out why. It was something about the cinematography and the way it was shot that just made it look and feel like a television show, and it always throws me off. So eventually I did some digging, and it's all due to Whedon shooting this in a flat ratio that the majority of TV series are filmed in, as opposed to a scope ratio that most movies are filmed in. And every film in the MCU up to this point has been shot in a scope ratio. Whether it's Whedon's background in TV or because of his words that they needed the extra height to fit the Hulk on screen, as true as that may be, it never really gels for me. It just looks so off for a film of this magnitude. And despite the problems Whedon had faced more recently in his personal and professional life, allegedly not a good guy, I think at the time he was the optimal choice to helm this project. That being said, I strongly disagree with his choice to shoot this film the way he did. This film is meant to look and feel epic, and in a lot of these scenes it just doesn't. After everything is said and done, this movie still stands as a monumental feat in the world of filmmaking. It's still unbelievable to this day that this all came together. Putting aside my one real critique of this movie, it's nearly perfect. And oh my god, we almost forgot the post-credit scene. That post-credit stinger with Thanos at the end, whew, chef's kisses. The characters are rich and compelling, the story is engaging and thrilling, the effects and set designs and action sequences are all top-notch. And my god, that New York battle is a sight to behold. That epic circling shot of the whole team assembled for the very first time, it's magical. I give Feige, Whedon, and all of the cast and crew immense credit for pulling this off. They changed the industry forever, for better or for worse. While this isn't my favorite Avengers movie, I love it nonetheless, and it holds a special place in my heart. I'll never forget the first time I saw this on the big screen. It was a spectacle. The type of movie that's meant for the theater-going experience. And I hope one day I'll get to watch this with my son and he'll get to experience the same awe and wonder that I did. So, I think I just want to end this video by saying, thank you, Marvel.